Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Dansg08 Hangout number 3. And this week I'm going to kind of start off with some good news for you guys anyway. Basically last weekend my project finished, and that means that testing is over for this game currently, and they're ready to kind of ship it out and all this kind of stuff. So my work is done for that game, and that means that I've been back at home and I've got a chance to kind of get back into YouTube things again. So if you notice, I started kind of putting out videos again the past couple of days. So yeah, that is the good news. Videos are back and hopefully they're going to stay. And basically it's going to be until the next project comes up. I don't know when that's going to be. They could call me tomorrow and say we need you to come in for another game, or it could be next month. I don't really know how it's going to go yet. But I mean, all you guys need to know is for now, the games testing thing is on a hold for now, and it's going to be back to video making. So good news. So yeah, with that being said, that means I'm going to be working on Final Fantasy 13 Part 2, Final Fantasy 12, and Bioshock Infinite. And especially for Bioshock Infinite, I'm really near the end now. And I think that's just going to take, maybe a couple more commentary sessions, and I should be through with that. And once that's over, for commentary, because I always want to have at least one commentary playlist going, I'm probably going to do Tomb Raider, because I've rented a copy of Tomb Raider at the moment, and I'm probably going to be doing a commentary playthrough of that one next. And as we look kind of forward into the future, The Last of Us is coming soon, and I'm hoping to kind of do a commentary playthrough of that as well. Alongside the commentary playthrough, I might also be doing a movie for that as well. So stay tuned for The Last of Us. As I kind of decide what to do with it, I'll kind of discuss it on here. But for now, I mean, just I will be covering that game. So if you guys were looking forward to that release, then you can look forward to the fact that I'll be doing it as well. So yeah, that's pretty much updates. Back on video making. No more games testing for now, and expect a lot more videos from me in the near future. Alright, let's move it along with Q&A, and let's get straight into it. This time I'm going to try and go for slightly more kind of quick-fire Q&As, because sometimes, I don't mind answering kind of longer Q&As, but obviously that lowers the amount that I can do, because I want to keep these videos, maximum like 12, 13 minutes. I don't really want to go any longer than that, and if possible, kind of 10 minutes would be my ideal target. So let's get straight into it with questions. Okay, first question was, what was my favourite subject in school? I guess I can kind of break this into three categories. One was just simply which one did I have the most fun in, and that was probably media studies, which like kind of making kind of short movies and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it was really kind of good fun. I had a lot of my good friends from school in that class, and kind of the projects that we worked on together, kind of making these mini kind of radio shows and kind of film related stuff. It was great fun. Because I mean, as I'm hoping you guys have got by now, I'm really kind of into my movies and that kind of thing, and it's kind of what I want to pursue kind of in the future. So it was a really fun time for me, and maybe just maybe kind of on Hangout number 100, I'll kind of reveal some of the old stuff we filmed, which should be quite funny. Yeah, so that was kind of the one I had the most fun in, but I mean that was quite short lived. Another one that I actually really enjoyed, it was really fun, was food tech class. I don't know Americans like you guys, how you guys what your curriculum is like. But we had a food tech class which ran from like year 7 to year 9, which was literally, there was like these classrooms that were like half kitchen, half classroom, and we'd basically just cook shit, and it pretty much was shit based on what we were cooking. But it was another one of these classes, obviously, cooking with all of your friends at that age, between like 12 and 14, really good fun, and I really have kind of fond memories of food tech class because it was just purely hilarious. And obviously, as I mentioned before, that I am an economist. I graduated with a degree in economics, so as in terms of like an academic subject, economics was always my favourite one in school, mainly because for whatever reason I seem to have a natural talent. I was pretty good at it. I didn't really have to work hard to get good grades, and again, it tends to kind of correlate with the teachers that you have as well. And I had a really good teacher that I still kind of chat to from time to time now, even though I kind of left high school like 5 years ago now. But I mean, it was really kind of, well, not 5 years ago actually. Like 4 years ago, yeah, 4 years ago. But I mean, economics, yeah, like I said, that was my kind of favourite academic subject. And yeah, so that's it. Favourite subjects in school: economics, media studies, and food tech. Kind of a strange combination, but I mean, media and food tech definitely were great fun, and economics was just something that I was good at. So yeah, that's question number 1. Okay, another question I got was Xenoblade Chronicles. A lot of people were wondering kind of what's happening with that movie. And if you actually watch the movie, there's an annotation that I put at the beginning about kind of what happened with it. And just a kind of a long story short, I was playing a backed up version from my hard drive, because I kind of modded my Wii in order to play the backed up version. And it was going well for like the first couple of hours. I recorded about 2-3 hours worth of stuff, but then kind of I started to have problems, and the Wii was crashing and the backup wasn't working. and all this kind of thing, and it started to get really kind of annoying, and I spent about 3 or 4 days trying to get everything going again, but for some reason it just didn't happen. So kind of that had to go on hold because I was kind of looking at the used prices on eBay and stuff, and you know the game is really expensive, and you know at the end of the day I have quite a lot of projects ongoing already, and Xenoblade Chronicles didn't really kind of capture that much of an audience. I think the first part still only has like 700 views or something like that, and that's really it doesn't really it's not worth me kind of going out investing in the game and trying to do a movie version for it. Since I've started it, it's something that's always going to be kind of I'm going to be looking to finish. And I don't know, maybe if you guys are from the UK and you actually own a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles, then maybe you can kind of loan it to me and I can kind of finish my recording and send it back to you or something. But like I said, because I don't really have any friends that are kind of into that kind of thing, there's no way for me to kind of easily get a copy of it. So yeah, that is Xenoblade Chronicles. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to continue the movie version for now, but you know, maybe sometime in the future it might be something that I'll do, because I was kind of enjoying the game, but right now I'm so busy with other stuff, it's going to be hard for me to kind of go back and kind of pick that up again, especially since I have to basically buy the game again in order to do it. Someone asked about Final Fantasy XI. Now, as far as I was aware, Final Fantasy XI is like an MMO. It's a multiplayer game. So I don't really know. I don't play MMOs, so I don't know too much about it. But as far as I'm aware, it doesn't really have a story or a storyline or cutscenes or anything like that. If I'm wrong, then feel free to tell me or link me to some kind of videos of the story, and maybe I'll kind of look into it. But I've never kind of seen a Final Fantasy XI movie or anything like that, because you know, as far as I'm aware, there's not really much of a moviness to it. So if I'm wrong, tell me, but as far as I know, I'm not going to be making a Final Fantasy XI movie because it probably just wouldn't work. So yeah, Final Fantasy XI. Okay, simple question about what's your kind of recording, editing, PC, all this kind of crap. Unfortunately, nothing too exciting. In terms of recording, I have a HD PVR, which I got, I think, like start of 2012. Yeah, I was in my final year of uni, and I decided, like, screw all this kind of SD shit. I really need to upgrade to HD, especially if I'm going to be recording off my PS3 and all that kind of stuff. So it is expensive. You know, it was at the time it was a difficult investment to make, but I mean, the way I see it, especially nowadays on YouTube, there really is no other way to record. You have to be recording in HD. So, you know, it works well for me because basically all of my recording comes from my PS3. It works out just about fine. So yeah, HD PVR recording device, and editing and PC stuff, unfortunately, again, nothing exciting. Like I've mentioned numerous times on my videos, if you ever read my comments, you know, anytime they're like, oh, you know, if it's emulated stuff, they're like, oh, why didn't you emulate it? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you play the game on PC? Well, it's because I don't have a gaming PC. I just have a laptop that's kind of it's over 2 years old now. So when I brought it, it was kind of quite high spec, but now kind of it's quite, you know, compared to what's out there, it's not the best. I'll kind of list out some of the specs. I can't bother to reel through them now, but it's nothing really exciting. So I edit on the laptop. I record my stuff onto the laptop, and the program I use is something called Power Director. Power Director is one of these nice programs where, you know, I can run it quite easily on my laptop. I can mess around with all the HD PVR footage without, you know, lag or you know any of that kind of stuff. It has all of the kind of basic transitions I need, kind of splits and fades and all that kind of stuff. You know, nothing too drastic, because basically I'm not really qualified or trained to do any kind of you know, hardcore Premiere Pro editing or anything like that, and obviously my laptop wouldn't be able to handle it anyway. So Power Director works out nice for me. It's very easy to use, and I've been using it for maybe like 2 years now, and you know, for now, for the recording setup that I have, it kind of works really well. So yeah, that's my recording setup and my editing. Okay, someone asked me about whether or not I use guides when I'm playing through games. General answer is no. I'm kind of one of these people that kind of always has to figure out things themselves. If I'm playing through a game and I get stuck, you know, I'm not the kind of person that just runs to a guide or runs to a, you know, walkthrough. I love to figure things out myself. You know, not everyone is the same. For me, that's part of, you know, that's part of the game. You know, figuring out things yourself, and kind of, you know, you have to fail sometimes in order to succeed, all that kind of shit. But you know, for me, it's always been the kind of thing that I do, and I'll always, you know, I guess I would refer to a guide if, you know, I was failing so many times or I was just missing something that I had to use it. But I mean, I don't ever remember a time when I just, you know, I gave up playing a game and just kind of went to a walkthrough or went to a guide in order to figure it out. And you know, if I was recommending it, then I would say, you know, I would recommend for you guys to play through the game normally first, you know, without any guides or anything, because you know, you get that full-on kind of, you know, natural experience and you kind of do things your own way. You figure out your own strategies and all this kind of stuff, and I always think that's a better thing to do. Yeah, so that's Q&A for this week. I tried to be quick, but again, I probably dragged on way too long, and there's still some unanswered questions. But what I will do, any question I haven't answered yet, I'll kind of keep it in like a bank. And any week, if the questions aren't particularly interesting or I want to get into one of the previous questions, then I will get into it then. So don't be like, oh, he didn't answer my question. I will probably get to all of them at some point. So sorry if I haven't answered your question this week, but hopefully in the coming weeks I will get to them. Alright, channel of the week is going to be very simple this week, and there's only one reason why I'm gonna say this channel, and that is a new channel called SourceFed Nerd. And if you notice, I mentioned SourceFed when I was doing my, what was it called? The 5th anniversary video. And the reason why I mentioned this week is just because I'm spending a lot of time watching it recently, especially with all the kind of Microsoft conference and all this kind of bullshit. I've been kind of trying to keep up with my news and my nerdy stuff. So SourceFed Nerd is a kind of subsidiary channel of SourceFed now, where most of the hosts are kind of on there all the time, kind of doing their thing. And at the end of the day, I'm guessing most of us are pretty nerdy, so all of your nerding needs can be found on SourceFed Nerd. You've got really funny presenters, some hot presenters if that's your thing, because who doesn't like hot presenters? And they cover anything kind of games related, anime type stuff, classics and anything like that. You can find it on SourceFed Nerd. So it's one of them channels where if you really get into it, then you're probably going to be hooked. So that's my channel of the week, SourceFed Nerd. They don't really need any promoting from me. They're really successful anyway. But I mean, just for the sake of you guys finding something enjoyable to kind of watch on YouTube, definitely go for it. SourceFed Nerd. So, all that's left this week is Film of the Week, and some people asked me about anime related stuff, and since I couldn't really get to that question, I thought, why not have an anime film for Film of the Week? And when you're talking anime films, you have to throw Akira into the mix. It's a 1988 classic. It was based on a manga written by Katsuhiro Omoto, and obviously, one of these kind of manga turned into movie things, but when you're talking about anime movies, this is kind of very influential, kind of classic, founding father, one of these really kind of, if you're a person that watches anime movies, I'm sure you've all seen Akira already. But I mean, if you haven't seen it, then it's definitely well worth a watch. So yeah, Akira is set in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo. Fucking hell, that's hard to say, it's like take 3. So yeah, it's set in that place, and you can imagine what that's going to look like in anime, especially in HD. It kind of looks wonderful. And it's about a kind of a military experiment that kind of goes wrong, and there's a member of a biker gang by the name of Tetsuo, who you're going to love once you watch the movie, because he's fucking nuts. And this Tetsuo guy basically kind of goes crazy, and all kinds of crazy shit starts to happen. And it's up to kind of a couple of his friends from his biker gang and a few kind of, I think they call them psionics or something like that. I think based on the IMDb kind of summary, they're called psionics. And these guys are kind of trying to save him. You have him kind of rampaging, going nuts, and you have the authorities kind of trying to chase him down and kind of eliminate him, and then you have his friends kind of trying to save him. And it's kind of really wonderful. It's always got great reviews around the board. Wherever you look, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and any kind of review sites, Akira, always has great kind of critical praise, and it's definitely something worth watching. I remember them saying they were going to make like a Hollywood live action film of it, which is just going to be like totally wrong. So before that ever comes out and kind of spoils your minds, go and watch the original Akira, especially in HD if possible. Anime always looks fantastic in HD, and I'm sure you're going to love Akira. Kind of great, kind of it's just something that you just kind of really with anime films especially, I kind of find that they just like really feed the imagination and really get you thinking, and really puts you in a nice zone. So yeah, that's my film of the week, Akira. It's a classic. I'm sure most of you've seen it, but it's one of the films that has to be mentioned when you're talking about anime. And yeah, I will get to the anime stuff at some point in the future. Alright, so my camera decided to run out of battery there, and I think that's probably an indication that these are probably too long, but it's really difficult to shorten them down, and it's something I'll improve on because I'm still not used to being in front of the camera yet. So yeah, that's all for this week. Dansg08 Hangout number 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm going to be back next week with kind of more updates, more channels, more films, more Q&A, and hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy that next week. Thanks once again for watching. Remember to send in your comments, send in your questions, and I look forward to reading them and preparing some answers for them. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.